All right, Mr. Acting Chair, if you are ready, we can get started.
Will do. Good morning, everyone. Rob Dennert from the City of West Des Moines, representing the Iowa EMS Association, the Vice Chair of the 911 Council, facilitating today's meeting. We'll call it to order. Carl, will you run through the roll call, please?
Yes, Chris Collins,
Present.
Jeff Miller,
Present.
Brad Schutz,
Present.
Amy McSheehy, Mike Bryant.
Mike Bryant's here.
Thank you. Eric Daw,
Eric's here.
Lynn Tazioli,
Lynn's here.
Josh Juden.
Students here.
Adam Welp is excused, so we do have a quorum.
Thank you. Are there any mailing list updates? That's a fun item on there. It's getting to be Christmas card season. We want to make sure we have everybody's address. All right, hearing no mailing list updates, I'll take a motion to approve today's agenda.
Lynn, motion to approve.
There a second?
Say my name if I'm in the room, do I?
Miller will second.
I have a motion and a second to approve today's agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And how about an approval of the June 11th minutes?
Daw moves.
I heard Dow.
Collins a second.
Thanks, Chris. There's a motion and a second to approve the June 11th minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, State of Iowa Administrator Reports. Blake?
Right, let me get my slides going. All right, as a reminder, we have scheduled a PSAP leadership training for November 18th. We've already had to open up additional seats, so we went from 35 to 50. At this point, 2 seats remain, and they're probably already gone as soon as I flashed up that QR code. But we will do a waiting list. I doubt we will open up additional seats, just with 50 being a hard number to manage already. But we will look to schedule that again in the future after November 18th again. But if you are interested, haven't taken it, or just want a refresher, it's not a course that's going to teach you how to schedule staff. It's not going to teach you how to answer calls, but it will do a lot of the other Iowa 911 aspects of things that you need to know about the job. So just some housekeeping things. I kind of went over just some refreshers last month as well, and I'm going to continue that this month. If you are thinking that you are experiencing any issues or weird call behavior, make sure to open a ticket. Just, kind of stomaching it and, gritting your teeth and bearing it isn't really the best way to handle that. So if you have calls going to places where they're not supposed to go, or if you as a PSAP are receiving dead air, those are important things to bring up. So make sure that you open tickets, make me aware. If you don't think you're getting the resolution or the attention with the contact NOC or your call handling provider, let me know. I can kind of push some buttons there and make sure we get a resolution on that. So the next item, again, under the kind of the auspices of housekeeping, we have a change request policy. We've had that in place for over 15 years. And it kind of talks through the bigger your project, the longer we need notification. If you're moving, we need like 180 to 365 days notice. If you just want like a generic alt route, we can probably handle that in 10 days or less. The policy says 10 days. And if you're gonna, need either a contractor or kind of just flow right into the next item, if you want to request the disaster recovery vehicle as part of your maintenance, that takes a little bit of coordination, and we need to make sure that things are available. So just a reminder that change request policy is out there. It's an online form that you submit. We receive it. We make sure everything looks good on it. The time frame looks good, and we get approved. And then generally we'll have like a kickoff call or make sure everyone's on the same page with what that maintenance is. Again, if it's a simple hour-long maintenance window that you just need to alt route your calls, it's really painless. It's a 10-day notification, but anything more than that, please let us know a little bit earlier than in that 10 days, or follow the policy to make sure you're giving the proper notification. The next item, over the last couple months, we approved new admin rules for 911. That was part of the Executive Order 10 Red Tape Rules Review. But through that process, we also tried to streamline the requirements on the Joint 911 Service Board plans. A lot of the components of the plan are very prescriptive within Iowa code, but there were a handful within the rule that we tried to make a little bit easier and make the plan a little bit more relevant in modern day. So if it's not really a requirement that you update your service board plan, it's really just if you are looking at it or you have a significant change and you identify that you need to update that plan, a new template has been posted to our website that hopefully makes the plan, again, a little bit more relevant and a little bit more streamlined. So it's a little bit easier of a lift when that time comes. The next item that has consumed the last 18 months of my life, and specifically the last 2 or 3 weeks, we did finish the data center move. So the data center out of West Des Moines has been decommissioned. All of that traffic is now routed through Raleigh. There's a couple items that are still hanging out there that kind of will wrap up the move to Raleigh, but for all intents and purposes, West Des Moines has been decommissioned. The next step in this, a lot of moving pieces within the kind of the engineering, the design of the 911 system in Iowa, is to move the existing Davenport core to Council Bluffs. Luckily, there's not a hard deadline with that move, so it'll be a little bit easier. With West Des Moines, we were given a hard deadline on when we needed to be out of the facility. That was June 30th. So we really had to push on in some aspects to make that happen. So the next one should be a little bit less painful, I guess, from my perspective. And then the other thing to bring up is as part of all of this, your call handling vendors have already made the IP changes to Davenport when they updated the Raleigh IP addresses. So it should be a whole lot easier lift on the call handling vendors as well. So all in all, the next step should be a little bit more seamless. Any questions on that slide before I move on? Move on to what happened on June 15th. And I'm not going to read this, but it kind of gives a high level summary of the multi-state 911 impairment that we experienced along with other states. So at just after 4 o'clock, Allerium, which is the new name for Comtech, I still kind of use Comtech, but it's been Allerium for over a year now. Their automated monitoring systems began receiving alerts at their Phoenix data center. So just like we have data centers, Allerium has kind of data centers that are upstream of us that are part of the call flow process. And what they discovered was a router cable was intermittently failing, and that particular router cable helped provide caller location. So that does 2 things. Obviously, it provides the caller's location, but then it also helps determine which PSAP to route that call to. That issue caused long delays in call setups. And again, point out that this was multiple states. We were impacted. States that use Allerium as their next gen core service provider were impacted. But I'll also add that states that don't have Allerium as their next gen core service provider were also impacted. So it was not kind of just because they're our vendor were we impacted. Multiple states were impacted regardless of their relationship with Allerium. So about an hour and a half after the issue was initially identified, they routed all traffic through their Seattle data center, which mitigated the issue. So during this time, there were 1,135 911 calls placed in Iowa, and that those came from 592 different callers. So obviously, just to spell that out, some callers called back multiple times. 677 of those resulted in a caller initiated hang up due to long connection time. So, we were hearing things about dead air, just long time that it took of the call to connect, 10 to 15 seconds. I would also say that during this time frame, some calls were delivered successfully, others were delivered without location information, and some PSAPs experienced no issues with 911 calls at all. So that faulty cable has obviously already been replaced. There's a couple other due outs that are part of the outage summary that talk through kind of, making sure that automatic failover timers are anything that can be done to be mitigated is mitigated. When there is intermittent failures, it is often a symptom that the automatic failovers don't work, right? So that's what happened here. And you can see the impacts statewide. Any questions on this? Moving on to GIS grants, closing out fiscal year 26. All the counties met the benchmarks in June, so that meant all the counties met the benchmarks for the entire quarter. Those payments went out late last week, so you should probably have them by now. If not, they'll be there shortly. The same benchmarks for 2027. We did make some changes to what's considered a critical error, but for all intents and purposes, again, it's the same benchmarks as previous year. You have no public education or training funds to consider this month. I'll just kind of close out the previous fiscal year. Just over $10,000 remained in that fund. So that it kind of carries over. So we don't lose it by any means. So it just kind of stays in the fund for the purposes of the fund. So we're able to continue to use that, although it doesn't add to the $100,000 part of this. So it's still there. It's still available. It's just not cumulative. Any questions for me before I turn it over? If not, Lynn from Zetron, are you on to give us an update on shared services?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Don't really have anything to note. We're just deploying the 3 new PSOPs for Woodbury, Monroe, and Benton. But, that's just moving along. This is the state map. Where we're at, those are the 3 that we are deploying underway. Next slide, please. Just a reminder that the online training portal, the learning management system, was voted last month to extend for another year. If you're interested in joining, email Christy Wade at that email address. Reminder, you do not have to be part of shared services. It's open to everyone in the state. We've got listed there some additional training that is being available in July as well as in August. There'll be some CTO Train the Trainer and just some updated stats that every month we seem to get about 300 classes completed and about 300 new enrollments. So I'm really glad that people are enjoying and getting value from this service. I think that's it for me, unless there's any questions. Thank you.
And that concludes my update as well.
Very good. Thank you both for your reports. Item 6 is training fund requests. Blake, you said there were none. Move on to item 7A, a technical advisory. Are there any comments of interest from our technical and telecommunications partners? Hearing none. 7B is an update from the Iowa Statewide Interoperable Communications System Board. Haley, do you have that update from the board?
Sure. Thank you very much. Good morning. So July's topic for presentation is cybersecurity. It's a basic overview of how to keep yourself and agency safe for non-IT personnel. If anybody's interested, I present that at the RIC committee meetings and anytime anyone requests it. On the 7th, we did hold a coordinated meeting with the Iowa State Patrol Sergeant Dinkla and all the pass-through counties to talk about RAGBRAI, what to expect, the comms plans and the interoperability. There were quite a few in attendance. If anybody has questions about that, please reach out and I can put you in touch with Sergeant Dinkla. I have been approved to present at Fire School at the end of January. That'll be effective radio communications for interoperability. For an IMED update, all of the invoices were taken care of before the end of the fiscal year. And today we'll have the first scheduled deployment of the WAVE technology. One thing to note for the standard that was created for that 1.5.5 medical interoperable communications, there was one typo found for a Region 3 agency, Banford Sheldon. So that has been updated on our website. Anybody needs to know that. For training, still working on finding dates for the approved INTD course that will be hosted in Carroll County. At the ISICS board meeting after this, I will be requesting approval to submit a TA request for a state-sponsored ComElk course. That'll be held here in the Des Moines area, probably sometime this fall. ICS 300 is a prerequisite for that. So if you're interested and you don't yet have that, there are some upcoming courses that are scheduled around the state, and those are found on our website, and Holly tries to keep those updated on the website. We do have a number of standards out for comment, and there's 6 days left in the comment period. If anybody's interested, we've had lots of views, but no comments. That's all I've got for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Swick Nichols. Item 7C is an update from our CISA ECD rep, Chris Myers. Are you available?
I am, Mr. Dennert, and appreciate the time today, everybody. Good to see everybody again. Bit of an interesting update for this month. It's not often we talk about federal-focused binding operational directives, but this one does have some potential applicability and adaptability to state and local governments, especially those that operate large, complex systems. So what happened recently is a new binding operational directive was issued per federal agencies, and this is basically a you must do this type of scenario to federal agencies. It does not apply to states or locals. But what this does is it introduces new remediation timelines for vulnerabilities based on 4 criteria. It looks at is the asset exposed? It looks at, is the potential vulnerability being exploited? And if so, is it cataloged in the known exploited vulnerabilities catalog that we produce? For those of you that haven't seen the KEV catalog, that basically looks at any potential vulnerability that is discovered and adds another element to it of, is someone trying to actually use this against someone else? So it's a very good catalog to look at for kind of what's actually out there. This directive also tasks federal agencies with looking at, can those KEVs be exploited automatically? As in, could someone just write a script that basically says, find anybody that has this problem and then take advantage of them? It also looks at, is this vulnerability something that someone can use to gain technical control of the system? If you think about what those things do, it's a good way to prioritize. And one thing I will say about this operational directive is it is focused on how do you prioritize. You often hear a lot of advisories come out from us with respect to cyber vulnerabilities. This is a way to kind of look at those 4 things and say, this is more important to me than something else. On the next slide, it also talks about a little bit on what must federal agencies do. For us, we have to update our own policies and prioritize critically exposed systems. We have to also monitor the KEV catalog and also look at how we mitigate exposures based off of the risk associated with that. And then, of course, there's more reporting requirements and also looking at cyber hygiene scanning. This continues to be available for state and locals to utilize as well. So if you want to have your system scanned by us, we can certainly arrange that. That's best to have during an offline conversation. Now, as far as what state and locals can do, there's no obligation whatsoever, but you can incorporate some of these practices into your own systems with respect to asset and vulnerability management. And the idea here is that you can leverage the timeline that's on the next slide to kind of show how to think about this. The vulnerability mitigation timelines now range for federal agencies from 3 to 60 days plus, depending on what it is. And it looks at basically a few things. Is it publicly exposed? Do we know that someone's exploiting this as of today? Can it be automated by an adversary? And what type of technical impact does it have? If it is data exfiltration, that carries a different weight than someone taking total control of a system over. So you can kind of use this to figure out, hey, how quickly do we need to patch these things? This is available online for download from our website. Again, this is a federal directive only for federal agencies. It does not affect state and locals, but there are some potential best practices here that could be integrated into your own processes and systems to further enhance your cyber posture. Next slide, we have some things that are more communications related with respect to regional news. The final match for FIFA is July 11th. I will say that all the participating agencies have learned quite a bit from this event or series of events, however you want to look at it. I'm assuming that they will have a lot of things that they're willing to share at some point. I just don't have a timeline on that. We are going to be doing a skip update workshop in Illinois on July 29th. Iowa, your technical assistance requests are currently being processed as we have them today. And then the Central States COMEX has been moved from the Joplin Quapaw area to Hot Springs based on logistical needs for attendees. And then, of course, we have a few other things in the hopper as well for some of the other Region 7 states. That is my report for the month, Mr. Denner. I can go ahead and take any questions.
Thanks, Chris. Any questions? Very good. Thank you, Chris. Item 7D is legislative issues. Does anybody have anything about the legislature? Hearing nothing. Item 7E is information sharing by council members. Anyone have anything to share? Very good. Item 8, unfinished business. I don't believe that there's any. Am I hearing something from somebody?
Yeah, Rob, Chris Collins here.
Go ahead.
Hey, so Chris with Iowa NENA. We're just in the early stages of potentially looking at bringing a training to Iowa. And I'm just wanting to gauge rather, if this would be interested to listeners on the call. And so what we're looking at doing, we're looking at bringing a CMCP course to Iowa. So I know it's been a while since we've had one in Iowa. We're still trying to figure out the logistics as far as financing the course. However, for people on the call, would there be an interest from your agency to attend a CMCP course here in Iowa?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Rob. And I know a lot of people on the call will be hard to talk at once. If you could use your reaction button and just do like a thumbs up emoji, that way I can go ahead and keep track of that as we move forward. I have reached out to Iowa, or I'm not Iowa NENA rather, but I have reached out to NENA National, and they said that 2026 is booked, so it would be for the year 2027. So we are several months out from any type of course, but I'm just wanting to gauge interest. Oh, wow. A lot of you. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chris. Knowing of no unfinished business, there doesn't appear to be new business. Are there any travel requests from the board members? Hearing none. Item 11 is business from the floor. Do we have anyone in the room who has any business? If not, anyone online that has any business for the board?
Yeah, Jamie Robinson, Jasper County EMA, if I could for just a second.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm a part of MSAC, the Emergency Medical Services Advisory Committee, and following the code change some time ago that kind of re-outlined the different committees and stuff in the state. I know this committee went through that as well. Two positions were added to MSAC, one being the State ME's office and the other one being the 911 Council. After several meetings of being told that they haven't successfully found anybody to do that, I just asked if I could come to this meeting and see if we can't get someone designated as part of MSAC from the 911 Council. And they were fine with that. That meeting was actually yesterday, and Blake told me your meeting was today, so here I am. I don't know that you could take any action on it since this is just during the general talking time, but I just kind of wanted to put a bug in this council's ear so that maybe you guys could look at your membership and decide who you would like to represent on MSAC. A little bit about MSAC. It kind of, again, Emergency Medical Services Advisory Committee. So looking at the EMS pre-hospital stuff, we have a lot of physicians, paramedics, EMTs as part of this group, kind of working through the different processes for statewide EMS stuff. A lot of good information comes out of it, and we meet quarterly. So we just met this month, and so our next one, 3 months from now. So yeah, and if there's any questions about it, we just need someone appointed that wants to do it, and I can send the contact information to Blake for who oversees that at HHS.
Well, not to get myself signed up for another meeting, but being the Iowa Emergency Medical Services rep on the council and a paramedic myself, unless someone else is interested, I would be willing to serve as that representative.
This is Mike Bryant. I nominate Vice Chair Dinner.
Thanks, Mike. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Collins a second. Oh, Lynn, to
All in favor of me serving as the rep for the MSAC?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I will email you some information, sir.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see, where am I at? Any other business from virtual partners, participants? Any issues, 911 issues at the PSAPs? Good. Then item 12 is just our announcement that our meetings are held every second Thursday of the month. In conjunction with the Essex Board, our next meeting date will be August 13th at 9:30 a.m. If there's no further business, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
No second.
Thank you. A motion and second to adjourn. Thank you all. We're adjourned.